Welcome. Good morning to our 30-minute live session, Q&A session. I'm Ify, your go-to immigration lawyer, here giving you tips, immigration tips, to help you succeed in your immigration process. So invite your friends, come on in, and let's welcome also Denise, our Spanish translator. Today we're going to be talking about documentation tips for VAWA self-petition. So how to put your documents together if you're going to file a self-petition. So welcome, Denise.
Hi, welcome, thank you, muchas gracias. Estamos aquí para apoyarlos, vamos a darles tips en cómo hacer su petición por VAWA. Estén atentos, aprovechen nuestro link también aquí en los comentarios, compartan con sus amigos y pues vamos a empezar. Muy bien, estamos listos.
Sí, gracias. Thank you very much. We're going to just get through the 3 points that I have for you today to help you put up with your VAWA self-petitions. But before I do that, I want to remind you all that April 1st, which is in a few weeks here, is the day when USCIS fees are going to go up. Is increasing by a couple $100 for different application types. So keep that in mind while you are going through this process to get your green card. File as soon as possible. Many of you may not be able to make that deadline anymore, but I just need to keep you aware that these changes are happening. Immigration changes happen all the time. So stay tuned, follow us so we can keep you updated on that. Okay?
Muy bien, entonces recordarles que las cuotas de la USCIS van a subir en abril, entonces hay bien prontito apresurarnos a contratar a nuestro abogado y poner todo nuestro papel en orden. Algunos no van a alcanzar, pero mientras más rápido lo hagamos, mejor. ¿Okay? Estamos listos para empezar.
All right, thank you very much. I'll quickly get into the points, and if you have any questions, I see questions already coming up as I'm speaking. Please make sure you ask. I'm going to get into that in the second half of this live session, but we'll start with point 1 to help you all understand how to prepare for your VAWA self-petition. And before I really get into the points, I want to remind you what a self-petition is. A lot of you following me right now, you may have seen videos of me talking about getting your green card through a self-petition, but a lot of people comment saying they don't know what a self-petition is, or they don't know that was an option, or they're like, well, I never called the police. This is an option. So real quickly, what is a VAWA self-petition? This is an option for any non-citizen who's married to a U.S. citizen. It could also be your parents or child, but typically marriage, because what we do here is marriage-based green card. But any non-citizen who's been abused by their U.S. citizen or permanent resident relative could potentially qualify for a self-petition. And this is directly linked to the abuse because by reason of the abuse, your petitioner is not able to help you, or sometimes they even use the fact that they helped you to control you. So that's where self-petitions come in, and that's what we do here. Okay? Is that clear?
Yes, muy bien, entonces vamos a repasar, obviamente les vamos a dar detalles de cómo aplicar al VAWA por cuenta propia, pero vamos a empezar por definir qué es un VAWA, ¿ok? Entonces, cualquier beneficiario que no sea ciudadano, casado o familiar de algún ciudadano que esté sufriendo abuso puede aplicar para una petición propia. Esto está directamente atado a sufrir el abuso directamente del ciudadano americano, ya que es posible que siendo tu familiar no te pueda apoyar a obtener una green card. Ahí es cuando entra VAWA y lo puedes hacer tú mismo.
All right, thank you for that explanation, Denise. So I'm going to get into the requirements, what type of requirements we're looking for, because before you start putting together your documents, you need to know what the requirements are. Okay, generally your evidence is to show the USCIS that you actually qualify for this benefit, that you have been a victim of abuse. So what are the requirements, right? There are 7 requirements, 7 broad requirements for VAWA self-petition, of which one of them is being abused by a qualified relative. Okay? It's not just being abused, it has to be a qualified relative, meaning a U.S. citizen permanent resident, spouse, parent, or child. All right. So if you understand the document requirements, this will help you to know exactly what to submit. Okay. So first things first, have I been abused? Yes. Do I need a police report? No. Right? Because even though being abused is a requirement, there are several ways to prove your abuse other than a police report. A lot of people think that because they haven't called the police on the abuser, they won't qualify to show that abuse. But in our law firm, we help clients get their VAWA self-petition approved through showing emotional abuse. This is basically one of the things that we do here. Emotional abuse, financial abuse, those types of abuse are also they have very serious effects on the non-citizen. So if you're able to prove that abuse, and I'll tell you in a minute how you can do that, that's going to be your biggest evidence for this case. All right?
Muy bien, entonces el primer paso sería, aquí hay 7 requerimientos básicos para ser aprobado o calificado como un VAWA. Ciertamente lo primero es reconocer que hemos sido abusados y después sería si realmente tenemos un familiar calificado, ya sea un padre, un hijo, un esposo, que sea ciudadano americano que esté infringiendo el abuso en ti. ¿Okay? Entonces, obviamente, muchas personas creen que se puede llenar o que debemos llenar un reporte por la fuerza. No se necesita un reporte policial siempre, ya que hay diferentes tipos de abusos de diferente índole, como el abuso emocional, abuso financiero, que realmente se pueden demostrar más allá de un reporte policial. ¿Okay? Entonces, más adelante vamos a hablar cómo, si tú has sido abusado, identificar.
Okay, great point, Denise. I just see a question here. Somebody asking, Paula, where we're located, and we're located in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we help clients all over the USA with petitions like this. So our main goal is to help you to put together a comprehensive application package, put together your documents to support the abuse that you've been through. So just reach out to us with the number on my screen. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, you can reach out to us. If you're on TikTok, my link is going to be in the bio, and my phone number is there too. So just text, call, and book a call with me. All right. I'll move on to point 2, but I wanted to mention something else to add to the documentation requirements. Okay, so we're looking at proof of abuse and also proof of real relationship, right? Before you can claim abuse, you need to also show that the marriage was real. If it's your parent or your child, you need to show that you were actually living with the abuser for you to even claim that you were a victim of abuse. All right. So with that, you're going to need statements from witnesses or people around you who helped you during that time. They know of the relationship, and then maybe they helped you, they picked you up when they kicked you out of the house, or somewhat supported you throughout the abusive situation. Okay, so those are the types of evidence we're going to help people together. So once you understand those documentation requirements and you put that together, well, I'm going to move on to point 2 to tell you the importance of a detailed affidavit.
Muy bien, entonces antes de pasar al punto número 2 sobre la documentación requerida, obviamente es saber que tienes un ciudadano americano que es familiar tuyo que te está siendo abusado, pero también es necesario comprobar la convivencia y la relación, por lo que tú puedes pedir testigos, gente que te haya ayudado cuando saliste de la relación, alguien que haya presenciado el abuso. Muy bien, y ahora vamos con el siguiente punto.
Sí, gracias. Thank you very much. So like I mentioned, we're needing proof of emotional abuse, financial abuse. This is for people who have not experienced physical abuse and somehow didn't call the police, because I know for a fact that with immigrants, calling the police is usually the last thing on their mind, except there's literally someone bleeding or something really drastic happening. They usually don't call the police. So for point number 2, detailed affidavits, I want to talk about this specifically just because the main evidence here is going to be your statement. The main evidence or the main claim for abuse is going to be your statement. So it needs to be very detailed to start from when you met the spouse, how they proposed to you, how you ended up in this situation of being married, and now you're stuck, feeling fear, not able to work, just basically detailing every single incident, every time that they threatened to deport you, every time that they threatened not to go to the interview, or just anytime that they just essentially made you feel uncomfortable, just and you didn't have the freedom to leave, or there was no in your mind because you either have a green card pending or they told you they're going to file a green card, you just didn't have the freedom to leave. All those details need to be in your statement, because that statement from you is the singular most important evidence of all. All right, before we add any psychological reports, police records, medical records, or whatever, you have to detail those experiences, and then the other evidence will support your statements. Does that make sense?
Muy bien, entonces aquí sería, como sabemos que para los inmigrantes normalmente la última opción es llamar a la policía, no queremos buscarlos a menos de que sea estrictamente necesario. Muchas veces el abuso no se refleja en un golpe o en algo notable, puede ser abuso emocional, abuso financiero o de otra índole que no sea fácil de ver. Lo más importante va a ser tu prueba en la declaración jurada. Detallar lo más profundo posible todo el tipo de abuso con fechas, cómo, cuándo, dónde, para que tu caso, tu atestiguo sea lo más sólido posible y entonces ya más adelante vienen las pruebas extra.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Denise.
Yes,
So the next thing I want to talk about, I actually want to talk about how we put together the evidence, because essentially here we're helping clients here, and I have a lot going on in my office today, guys. But here we're helping you. Hi, guys. I'm live because I couldn't really hear myself there. But anyways, we're going into how we help clients put together this evidence. Essentially, we're helping you organize your statements, figuring out exactly how to answer it, knowing the dates, because it's a timeline. You know, you're needing to show the timeline, like I said, from when you first met the person through going through the abuse and the rest of the things that happen. So what we do here is help you present that information, strengthen your case, because if they can't believe your own statements or what's going on, I mean, every other thing doesn't really make sense, right? Because that's the whole point. You're the one that has experienced the abuse and stuff like that. So, essentially, we help you organize and present the evidence, which is my point number 3. We help you organize and present the evidence to the USCIS and also support you with your safe address, because for self-petitions, right, these are victims of abuse, and sometimes it's very severe that we essentially need to protect you. Your spouse is not going to know about it, for one. The USCIS is not going to tell them, nor are we, because, it's your self-petition, right? You're doing it on your own. So at the end of the day, if you're not able to persuade the USCIS about this abuse through your statement, through detailed evidence, I've seen cases where people I knew they were abused and everything, they still got denied because they weren't able to put that case together properly and they didn't use an attorney service. So VAWA petition is not something that you're going to file on your own. This is not just simply filling out forms and saying I qualify for something. You actually have to persuade them of the abuse that you've experienced. We recommend therapy, evaluations and services to help with strengthening your statement, but just reach out to us to find out how we can help you actually put this together. All right?
Muy bien, entonces esto nos lleva a nuestro punto número 3. Nosotros como abogados te apoyamos en esta parte, que es en donde entramos, organizar y presentar con un caso sólido, fuerte, porque realmente tú eres el único que ha experimentado el abuso y si no tienes una declaración jurada lo suficientemente sólida, recuerda que VAWA no es simplemente una forma a llenar, no es algo que hacemos solos, realmente es necesario la ayuda de nuestro abogado porque convencer y apelar por tu caso es algo que requiere tiempo y trabajo para organizar de la manera más completa. comenta Ivy que ha conocido personas directamente sufriendo el abuso que han sido negados porque no supieron armar su papeleo solos. Entonces es bien importante tomar la mano de un abogado.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. I see a question from Instagram already that we're going to start with. There are so many on TikTok already, but I'll just answer this one from IG. Thank you all for being here and watching. Give me a thumbs up if you're getting any value from this live. If you at least figured out that maybe you qualify for a self-petition, or at least now you have an idea of what types of abuse will help you prove a case for self-petition, give me a thumbs up in the comments, and then I'll start answering the questions. We're basically at our halfway mark through the live, so it's getting into the Q&A sessions. And like I said earlier today, the form fees are going up pretty soon. So we've opened up more consultation spots at our firm to help you all get in and discover if you actually qualify for a case and get started right away. So we're offering a special case evaluation session for $99. If you want to talk to me, it's $199 right now. We generally run specials going on, but this month we're getting a lot of people coming in, so we want to make sure that we're able to give you the time that you need and evaluate your cases properly. So reach out to us. My link is in bio, numbers in the video, like I said, so we could talk about that. But now we're going to get into the questions. Let's see what is said on IG. Denise, do you see that? You can read that for me, please. So I'm trying to.
Yes, this is Jeffrey Rosario Plasencia. My wife is a citizen and I applied for a K3 visa. How long does it take to get approved? And did I add it to the I-30 form?
Okay, great question. Okay, Jeffrey, thank you for your question. Great question. This is about a family self-petition, which is a bit different from a VAWA self-petition because this is when things are going good, right? Self-petitions are for when things aren't going that great. Sometimes in marriage, you never know who you're marrying until you actually marry them. People have heard the same story saying it's like they just became a different person. That's like standard. Okay, that's the beginning of an abusive relationship. They become a different person and start acting completely different from when you were dating. So here, Jeffrey has a good marriage. He is the non-citizen, so he's waiting outside the USA for the I-130, hence the K3 visa application. So Jeffrey, as far as how long it takes is really up in the air because K3 visas are really, sometimes the way they've helped my clients is to help the I-130 get approved quicker. But in itself, it really has to be a reason. What kind of reason? Let's say there's a baby involved maybe, and your spouse is pregnant. Let's say you're pregnant and you need to come to the USA. You need that help or support before the I-130 gets approved because it takes a while, right? They might approve that, but it's really all up in the air as to how long it'll take. It could take up to a year, just the same amount of time it takes the I-130, but they will approve that. I mean, once they approve the I-130, they're going to deny that one anyway because they can't approve both of them. One is a visa coming to the U.S. temporarily, while the I-130 is pending and all that, and then you could potentially adjust your status. The other one, the I-130 itself, is going to be for a spousal visa, so it's really going to be a challenge to get both of them approved at the same time. So just kind of keep an eye out, see which one gets approved first. If the I-130 gets approved, the I-29F is going to get denied. That's just what we see happening typically. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for that question and reminding us about what it takes to actually bring your spouse to the USA. It's your family petition. Okay. So those of you watching, I see questions relating to that. I'm going to get into that, but essentially, Denise, adelante. So that's Jeffrey. How did you know his name was Jeffrey anyway? Because it's not spelled like Jeffrey. Is that
Because in
Espanol?
Spanish sounds like Jeffrey. Yeah.
I
I
see.
think
I
he
was
speaks
like,
Spanish.
wow. I
Jeffrey,
see.
dinos si hablas español.
Okay. Okay, yes. So it's Espanol. Great. So, definitely let our Espanol audience know. I appreciate you all for watching, what's going on with Jeffrey's case, because I'm pretty sure it's similar situations, right, for those who are waiting outside the USA for their green cards through spouse. Okay. So
He actually has a question. He just said, tengo una
Another
pregunta
question?
más. Sí, vamos, Jeffrey, déjanos saber. ¿Cómo te
Or
podemos
what was
ayudar?
okay?
He's
So
just
he can ask the
typing now.
question.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
All right. So
I see a lot of TikTok questions you have.
I do too. Yeah, I was just scrolling through them. Let's get into those while Jeffrey is sending that. But I think that was okay. That was how he started it. He asked Tango. Tango means I have. Tengo una pregunta.
Yes, tengo
I
una
have a
pregunta.
question. I love it. Okay. All right. So let's see what questions you see on TikTok. I see one about a joint sponsor. Let's answer that one from Style Hod. Style by Hod. HOD. Thank you for being here, Mr. Style. It says, how much must a joint sponsor make if your spouse makes 35K in a year for 2021, 2020, 2020, 2021, 2022? Style, that's a question I can't answer until I know what your household size is. It's not, there's no, the amount that's going to be required is going to be dependent on your household size. Okay, so there's no specific amount for just applying for a green card. It's all dependent on the family. So what's your household size? You can find out this information on the USCIS website, or you can just reach out to my office for a consultation, or we can help you do an income check to make sure that your joint sponsor meets the requirement, that you meet the requirement, because without the income requirement, the green card will get denied, right? So that's what the purpose of it is. So thank you very much, Style. Any other questions? I'll keep on reading. I know a lot of you have been asking, just try to ask again so I can kind of see it, because it's kind of going and flowing through and I'm missing some of them. Okay. I
We
see
have
one in
someone
Espanol.
saying you are beautiful. You have one in español?
I see one in Espanol. Yeah. Okay. You are beautiful. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
I see
That's
it.
someone.
Tuve una deportación, right? That one?
Is yes, that one from Jose Ruiz. I feel like that
José.
person has been alive before.
Oh, hola José, gracias por acompañarnos. Espero que estés aquí con nosotros todavía. So I had a deportation and now I'm here with an H-2A visa. Can I marry with
Mm-hmm.
a citizen and adjust?
Potentially, if you had a deportation, though, you might need a waiver of inadmissibility, because I'm not really sure what the deportation was about. Was it for unlawful presence or overstay? Well, generally with overstay, yeah, you can still be deportable. Or what? Like, what did you get deported for? Was it criminal stuff? You know, all that stuff
Señor
is what
José
makes
Ruiz.
you inadmissible. So even though you're married to a U.S. citizen, which you can, anybody can just marry whoever you want, right? It's all about, can I adjust my status? So if they find out that maybe there's some stuff in your records that we need to waive, then that's what we're gonna do. Okay.
Muy bien, señor José Ruiz. Entonces, dependiendo también la razón por la que se le haya sido deportado, cuando ha sido una razón simple como que se estuvo más tiempo de lo que debía o entró sin permiso la primera vez y lo regresaron, una entrada todavía es accesible para llenar un perdón por parte de un waiver. Sería lo que nuestra abogada puede hacer por usted y pues ya sería si usted se casa y puede acceder a la green card. Pero llámenos si necesita un poco de asesoría al respecto, podemos verificar bien cómo está su caso y apoyarlo a obtenerla.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jose, for that question. Give me a thumbs up if you got some clarity on that. Thumbs up. Yeah. Thank you. I see one about DACA. I have a very good question. Have been to many lawyers, but none of them can help. This is all about her. All about her. So what's your question? Let's see. Scroll. Okay. If my father was deported from the US and received his citizenship from Canada, can he come back to the US? No. I mean, what did the immigration lawyers tell you? Because his citizenship in Canada really has nothing to do with the US. They're different countries. So he'll need to waive whatever inadmissibility he was deported for. So if he wants to apply for a temporary visa, like a visitor's visa, he would need to get a 212 waiver, potentially, depending on what he was even deported for. So yeah, being a citizen in Canada and then comes to the US, really just not even related. Okay, so I'm not sure what you've been told all about her, but let me know if this is along the lines of what you've been told. If there's something else you need clarity on, let me know. Okay. All
And there
right.
is someone asking, my DACA, you said about DACA, it's about to expire. How long does it get approved after receiving the
Okay. Yes.
I-30?
That one was just down there, but I think I missed it because I didn't see a name. It's just like a period.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
Mm-hmm.
so okay. DACA is about to expire. How long does it take to get approved after USCIS received the I-130? I mean, did they receive the I-45 too? Because I-130 being approved is not going to give you legal status. It's just going to give you a qualified relative, okay, and not legal status.
And
So
many blessings asking if we do spousal visa. Yes, I feed does spousal visa.
of course, many blessings. We are the marriage green card team. We help couples file their green cards through marriage specifically, and other family based as well, but mostly married. So definitely reach out to us about that. And thanks for the follow on TikTok too, by the way. So y'all watching on Facebook, YouTube, make sure you follow. Um, and turn on your notifications for when we go live to answer questions and give you this basically like a mini consult, right? But it's not official legal advice since these are just random questions in the public forum. We want to give you that specialized time to really know how your case is different from others. I talked to a couple the other day and they were just telling me they didn't have the traditional types of evidence that we need for marriage because of their religion, right? Some people don't celebrate birthdays, they don't celebrate anniversaries, all those type of things. So in that case, we have to think outside the box and figure out how we're going to actually prove this marriage is real because, like I said, not every family is the same. So there's no cookie cutter way to do this. You just have to get a consultation and figure out the way that works best for you.
This is the
Okay?
general road, but every case is special.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, let's see. I'm
And
still
I see
scrolling through
memory styles. Hope you're still here.
on
If your
TikTok.
passport is expired while in the USA, can she use, the ID instead for adjustment of status, or should he just renew the passport?
You should get your passport renewed. But what
Yeah.
ID would you use for adjustment? They need your passport. They need proof of your entry. Well, I mean, we can still get proof of entry, but you need to renew your passport in the long run. So I'm not sure what other ID. So you renewed your passport. It's just not yet. It's not yet available. That's fine. So you can go ahead and file adjustment of status, and then um, wait for the maybe at the interview you can give them the renewed passport if they ask. Okay. Thank you very much. Memory Styles. I see one from Abena. What evidence do you need to send in a K1 visa? Abena, it's a bona fide relationship type situation because if you haven't met this person real life, one, you're not gonna qualify for that. So you need to meet them real life and then prove that the relationship is actually real and you want to come to the USA to get married. That's bottom line of what it's about. For more details, definitely need to book with us to talk about that. Okay. All right. Somebody says hi.
And we have
Do you see another one?
Shahasib. It's like, in what situations, one, can we expedite for consular process? We spoke about this in a past live, I think.
We did.
Like,
Okay.
they
Oh,
just,
I'm trying to make it faster for the consular
mhm.
process. That's really a difficult one because this is not related to any financial hardship. Sometimes maybe for humanitarian reasons, if there's any type of war or situation going on in that country, maybe they'll consider it. But when it comes to expedites, USCIS is only going to expedite things that are related to getting you some income and maybe giving you the freedom to travel. But if you're outside the USA, I mean, if there's no hardship in that country where you're at, it's just really hard to be like just expedited because I've seen a family who they had a baby on the way and but there was no hardship in the whole baby situation. It wasn't like a high risk pregnancy or like it was just like, oh, I miss my spouse. I want him to be here for the birth of our baby. And they were like, girl, no. So they didn't really do anything in that situation. But you can always try expedite. There's no charge to it. You can always just write a letter and try to make your case. But it's not. There's no guarantee of them even looking at it. So that one is there. I see one question from another person with no name on TikTok. It's about an I-601A. I don't know if you see that one, but I'll read it. This is under many blessings or all about her. It says, once an I-601A is approved, what's the next step? Okay, great question for whoever this is. I can't really see the name, but great question nonetheless. Thank you for being here. A 601A, for those of you that don't know, is a provisional waiver of unlawful presence. Okay, this is for people who have entered the USA without a visa, right? And they need to essentially adjust their status, but before or get their green cards because they need to travel. So, but before they do that, before you travel outside, you need to get that provisional waiver so that you don't get stuck outside based on your unlawful presence. So, once the I-601A is approved, you will then send your I-130 to the consular because right now your I-130 haven't started the process of transferring your approval to get your visa and all that stuff. They essentially need this approval to do that, or well, they don't need it, you need it, because if you travel without it, like I said, you could get stuck abroad. So now that it's approved, just start the second step, the consular process step. That's the next step. Okay,
We have
thank you for that.
someone, I think this is Kiki Love. Does the approval of the I-1
I-360.
of the I-3060 means your VAWA case is approved?
Kiki Love, yes, exactly. The I-360 is your vow self petition form. One that is approved, your vow self petition is approved, but that's not a green card. Okay, remember in the beginning I mentioned I-130 is when the marriage is good. I-360 is when the marriage is not good. So I-130s in themselves don't give green cards. It's the same thing. You need to file the I-485. And one thing I was going to mention, I just heard that recently about the fees, is that while USCIS has increased the fees for all the other types of cases, when it comes to VAWA self-petition, they've actually waived the I-485 form fee, which right now is $1,225. So they waived that for VAWA applicants, which is great, but you still have to pay for your work permit and travel permit, which doesn't come down to like that much. I don't think it's up to 1,000. Because this is a humanitarian type of visa. It is based on the fact that you've been abused. Okay, so they're definitely going to give that consideration there, which I think was great news to hear. I didn't really know that was part of the changes to the fees. So the fee structures are just changing all over, just all around. So for employment-based, family-based, all of that. Okay, so yes, it's approved. Reach out. Let's do your I-485 so you can get your green card. Okay. Thanks for that. I see that we are at the 30-minute mark, and I do have that consultation in 10 minutes. So let me see if I can answer a few more questions here. I'll go through that. Yeah, I see one from IG. Maybe I should answer that one. And Denise, please scroll through the TikTok questions and see if there's anyone we can quickly answer before we call it a day for today. And for those of you who I missed, join me live again tomorrow. We're just doing strictly questions for the full 45 minutes. So if you're in my Facebook group, you're gonna see the notification for that, and we'll talk you through any of your confusions for this process. Okay. Okay.
We have so many good questions on TikTok as well. Like, I don't know, we can, like, Ravido has an interesting question. He's like,
Okay.
what is the chance of a US citizen to marry a foreign national with HIV? Like,
What? Oh, I see. Because I was like, what? Why is that relevant? But I think it's because of the medical requirements. Yes. So, okay. Well, what was the question? What are the chances of approval, or what is the
yes, the
risk?
chances of approval, will that affect his process because he will
So,
show up with HIV?
yeah. So that could potentially affect for sure, because we're thinking of inadmissibilities. I have to really quickly think of that, because generally, you know, a person's health status does not really should not affect this process, but we're talking about a communicable type of a disease or something that could affect the population. those are the types of things they will check. Like if you had cancer or something like that, it's like, I mean, nobody
That
makes
wouldn't.
themselves sick, right? All right. So, but for the medical part of things, that could raise questions. But if you're on treatment and if you are not, there are different stages to this stuff that, there might be exceptions to that, but this will be between you and the medical when you're doing your medical, right? So it's one of those things that'll definitely come up, but I don't think I can just say, oh yeah, definitely gonna be denied. It's not that black and white. Just when it comes to the determination, as long as there's a showing of some other rehabilitation or treatments or something like that, it could potentially be okay. Okay, but let's talk about that more. That's definitely an interesting question. Thank you for bringing that up. The one on IG I was going to answer, I couldn't. Let me see. Let me quickly see that one. I wasn't. I was trying to figure out what question was about. Okay,
I
it was just
see
about,
it.
yeah, an approved I-130. Okay, wanting to travel when the I-485 is still pending. And my answer to that, Almo West, is you could travel if you have a travel permit, like, and you don't have any inadmissibilities to worry about. Because the only issue you would face is if your I-45 gets denied for whatever reason, for misrepresentation, criminal charges, whatever. You won't be able to come into the USA until you waive those inadmissibilities. So the fact that the I-130 has been approved is great, but I-45 still needs to be approved based on your eligibility. Okay. All right. So I think that's good for Alma West. Give me thumbs up if you are getting value. If your question was answered. I see a lot of people with unanswered questions, and I'm
Please
sorry. I
come
hope,
back to the next slide.
yeah, I wish I could answer each and every one of you, but these lives just kind of move pretty quickly. And since it's still the weekday,
You
we have
have
quite.
Friday still for Facebook group, right? One on one.
Yes, yes. So the Facebook group one is still definitely, you're welcome to join that. Our link to join that is going to be, I'm going to put that link on my TikTok bio, actually. I don't know if it's still there. But if you do text me or send me a WhatsApp message or something from the link, I will send you the Facebook group, how to join. Okay. But for right now, we're going to call it a day. This live, it was, serious discussions that we had because we're talking about abuse and everything. But I appreciate you all for hanging in there with me and doing this. To my team, thank you. To my
Yes, I
audience,
think people has
thank
been appreciating you. Like I've read some comments as well,
you. Thank
like
you.
you're
Yes.
helpful and they like your job.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I saw somebody ask me something about law school. I'll get into all that. I'll do a lifestyle live. I
How?
do that. I do that sometimes. I
I
haven't
want
done
to
it.
know. I want to know how.
Yeah, I want to know how you either go into law school or paid for law school or something like that. I can discuss those things in the lifestyle live. But yeah, let me see this last question from Alomi. Says, if I file my VAWA, if I have, if I file for VAWA case, I want to get remarried. Just let me stop you there. They haven't. I don't think the. I don't think they finished the question, but let me just stop you there. You file for VAWA case. Do not remarry. That's the rule. Because once you get married to somebody else, you no longer have the qualified relative for the VAWA self petition, and you have to basically just cancel that. So if you're a person you're marrying is a U.S. citizen and you're going to file an I-130 again, great. Other than that, do not. Okay? All right. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. I will see you in my next live. All right.
Gracias.
Have
See
a
you
good one.
soon.
All right. Bye.